All right, so welcome everybody to the new year. We are starting off, we just did KFM, and now we are doing Fast Enterprises, and we have Taylor here to pretty much give us an overview of what it's like to work at Fast Enterprises. And we're very excited to have her. So welcome, Taylor. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, of course.
Uh,
Just kind of, you want me to give a quick overview first, or?
yeah, sure. Yep. Go ahead and give us an introduction to Fast Enterprises.
Sure. So Fast Enterprises is a software development and consulting company.
Mhm.
We put that software in strictly for government agencies, and we offer those government agencies 4 software solutions. So we have a tax software, which we call GenTax. We have an unemployment insurance software, which we call Fast UI. We have a driver and vehicle software, which we call Fast DSVS. And then our latest and our newest one is our child support software, which we call Fast CSE. We have project sites that are located all over the country, in Canada, overseas. And because we are in so many different locations, we do relocate all of our employees to the project sites themselves. So all full-time employees would be relocated on average every 2 to 3 years. And all interns coming in would be relocated for the summer. I just really like to stress that because we definitely are looking for candidates that are very, very open to relocating and are very flexible with their location of where they're going to then be working. And just kind of a fun fact, we do have 7 Lehigh University alumni that do currently work for Fast.
That's great.
We
That's great.
definitely are actively hiring for both full-time and internships. So I always tell people, go check out our website and check out the positions that we have there.
That's great. And so, how do you find, what are some tips to if, say it's somebody graduating right out of undergrad, they get a position, they get a full-time position, they've never had to relocate as much, but they're open to it. What are some tips that you would give to these new employees?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think that everyone at Fast is kind of in the exact same boat. With it, you could get moved to a location where you might not know anyone, which obviously can be a little bit scary and nerve-wracking, but you kind of did it when you moved to college. So it's the same thing. Fast is a really, really good job too of taking a lot of the stress and logistics off the moving process. So we do have our own in-house travel team. They coordinate your travel to that location. We also work with a third-party moving company that comes in and packs all of your stuff up and gets it shipped to your new location. If you have a car, that gets moved as well. And then once you are in that new location, Fast does provide housing for up to 2 weeks so that you're able to settle in, go look at apartments or houses in the area, and really get a good feel for where you would like to live while you're at that project site. That's obviously for full-time. We don't do all of that just for the summer for the interns. Interns, again, our travel team does coordinate their travel to the location for the summer. Instead of going in and packing all of their stuff up for the summer, however, we obviously let them bring the stuff that they want for the summer, but instead we put them up in corporate housing for the summer. So they are put up in a fully furnished apartment. You don't have to worry about that. And they also are then paid for the internship. So it definitely gives them a good feel of what it would be like to work for Fast for a full-time opportunity.
It sounds like they're in very, caring hands.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like I said, a lot of the logistics is handled and it takes a lot of the stress off.
Yeah, it sounds like it would be, amazing process, especially, as you start out in your career to really see the world and something to really get involved in,
Yeah, absolutely. You get to experience kind of a little something different in every spot that you go to that you wouldn't get to do if you didn't move. Yes, it's a very cool opportunity.
Great. And keeping in line with, speaking about, tips for employees, what are some skills and competencies that you look for?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we are a software development and consulting company. So obviously we're looking for those technical skills, more specifically object and programming skills. Obviously too, looking for those strong communication skills because every role at Fast is going to have some aspect of consulting in it. In addition to those, though, the obvious ones, we definitely are looking for, we say flexibility. What we really mean by that is we're just looking for team players. You're definitely going to be put on a project that you're working very heavily with both the client as well as other FAST employees. It's very much a team-oriented and collaborative work environment. So we want people that thrive in that type of atmosphere. In addition to that, we're looking for people that are self-motivated. We do have a pretty flat structure at FAST, and we do that because we realize that not everyone is going to want to move into a leadership or management type role. And that is completely fine. You definitely can do that at FAST, but if that's not for you, we have had people at FAST that have worked now for 10, 15 years, and they don't want to take on a management type route. And instead, they have taken on additional job duties or responsibilities, or maybe they're the go-to person for some area in the system. Sure. And they're going to be compensated in the same way as someone that has taken on a management type route. So always tell people coming in, be your own self-advocate at FAST. Let people know what you're interested in doing and how you're wanting to grow within. And FAST is definitely going to do their best to allow you to grow in that way. And I guess the last thing that I would say is that we're really, really looking for is strong problem solvers. It's going to be a million different ways that we can come to that end solution. We want to make sure that we're implementing a software that is the most efficient for the client that we're working with at that time. So definitely learning from client to client, but not implementing the exact same solution every single time over and over again. And constantly being able to look at it from different angles and open to different opinions and thoughts. So that, again, we know that we're implementing a software that is going to be very, very successful for the client that we're working with now.
Wow, that's great. There's so much to really dig into there, but one thing that stood out to me is really learning the clients. And you said, you can't have, each solution is tailored to the client's needs. Do you mind just speaking a bit about, how an employee would really form a relationship where they can create a solution that really fits their needs?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the main benefits of FAST, and one of the main reasons, honestly, why we relocate our employees is because we want you to be on site, developing that rapport and relationship with the client every single day. Wow. You're also then going to be implementing the software in the community that you're now living in. So it just shows that we're a lot more invested. It's affecting us too, just as it's going to affect the client. And I do really think that being on site and working side by side with the client, you're able to sit in on meetings. You're able to kind of go back and forth if you are building something out and maybe you just forget something that was mentioned in a meeting, or you want further clarification. It's so easy to just pop up and walk over rather than have to sit and type a long email and explain everything that you're thinking and then wait X amount of hours to get that response back. So yeah, I guess going back, it's definitely very, very beneficial to just be in person, on site, in that location, because you're able to build that rapport.
Wow, that's great. That's great. Thank you for answering that. Yeah. So what would make an employee stand out? So we already touched on a few things, but if you really had to emphasize or really drive home something that would make somebody stand out at Fast Enterprises.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, what we've mentioned already, those skills are definitely very, very important. And it's putting those skills into action. So you can talk about them and you can do really, really well showing that you have those skills in the interview process, but it's really good to actually see them when you get to site. I always tell people it is definitely a very, very large learning curve when you first come in Fast. It's a lot of information. And I personally feel that the people that are more successful at Fast are the people that aren't scared to ask questions. So realizing that you're not going to know everything right away, and that's completely normal. And to rely on the teammates that you have on site, they're there to help. They're there to take on a more mentorship role. So lean on them, ask them for guidance, because they're definitely going to point you in the right way. And I mean, the more questions you ask to the more people that you have on site, the more knowledge you're going to gain, and you're going to become more of an asset quicker than if you just kind of sat in the shadows and were scared to ask those questions.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. I'm really relying on your team, and mentorship is always a plus, especially as a new employee. I remember when I started, I was originally in law school, and I worked at a law firm before I went into law school. And I really relied on the senior attorneys to really help me learn about the landscape of the field I was working in. And it sounds like that's something similar that happens at Fast Enterprise. It's just a different arena.
100%. Yeah. I mean, why not take advantage of the people that have been here for years and gain their knowledge rather than just starting from square one?
Yes.
Especially, I mean, people know the learning curve that you're coming in at. So they're always very, very willing to extend a hand and help out.
That's great. Yeah, never reinvent the wheel. Always learn and see what you can do just to maximize your time and efficiency,
Well,
especially starting out.
Yeah.
So continuing in line with some of that, the work culture, do you mind just sharing a bit about how your company incorporates DEI into their culture, into their values?
Yeah, I think honestly, in order to promote a diverse and inclusive work environment at FAST really makes a priority in recruiting candidates from in the United States as well as internationally, making sure that we're getting candidates from all different backgrounds, interests, ideas. And while we're on these different campuses across the states or internationally, we really do try to make an effort to pair up with student organizations that are focused on underrepresented students and attending diversity focused career fairs and events, and also participating in conferences that celebrate and foster the career interests and success of that diverse group of people. Examples that we kind of do company-wide to make sure that, again, we're fostering this type of environment and everyone is feeling heard and welcomed. So one thing that we actually added on recently, I would say within the last year, is our Fast for All committee. And that committee really focuses on the actions that FAST can take to recruit FASTies from all different backgrounds. We also have and participate and run a FAST code camp. It's Camp Code for Girls. Okay. And this is done every single year. And it's really just to expose girls to the power of coding and to hopefully spark some interest in having them pursue a career in a STEM field once they get into college. It's really designed for girls entering into ninth grade that have limited exposure to software programming. And participants are exposed to a variety of educational coding games and activities that are led by experienced women, FAST employees and developers. And I guess really the last thing that I wanted to briefly touch on is our FASTies for All. So FASTies for All is run again by a group of FAST employees, and really it's just encouraging employees that we have throughout the world to give back to the communities that they're currently living in. We're able to reach a wide range of communities because we are so spread. So, I mean, why not get involved? FAST also has a FAST gift matching program for both volunteer hours as well as for monetary gifts that are given out annually. So yeah, I definitely think FAST tries to do a really, really good job of being aware and giving back when we can.
Sure. Yeah, that's great. Those are amazing examples. It sounds like they do a lot for the communities that they find themselves in.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how would you say that employee feedback is collected and used to further your mission?
Yeah, I definitely think FAST encourages and values feedback from all employees at all levels, whether you're just coming in or you have been with FAST for X amount of years. I think the best example that I can give is honestly when COVID hit. We had to step back. We had to go to a more virtual format. It's not the ideal format, but that's the one we had to take on during that time. And I think a lot of employees really started to like and want more of a hybrid model where they got to work at home when they wanted to work at home, and they got to go into the office when they wanted to go into the office. And our partners listened to that and they made some adjustments, and they have now implemented 30 work from home days. So employees can now decide what days they want to work from home and decide what days they want to come into the office. I definitely think it goes back really to the mission of FAST is really striving to make it an environment and a culture that is a place that everyone is happy at and everyone wants to work for.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Especially the utilization of the 30 work from home days. It's amazing that, there's that trust there, that you trust the employees, and there's a care for, definitely mental health during this time, because it is very challenging time to be going through a pandemic. But I'm happy to see that Fast Enterprises is doing a lot for its employees. I think it continues with that theme that we started with way back in the first question of, just having that caring community and care for employees.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And so just to wrap it up, just to do some key takeaways for anybody watching that was interested, what are some ways that they can get in touch with recruiters or just Fast Enterprises in general?
Yeah. One of the main things that I highly, highly, highly recommend to all students is to try to connect with reps at events such as career fairs or other on-campus employer meetups. We really, really enjoy meeting students in person. If obviously you're not able to, or there's not an in-person event being held, obviously virtual events work just fine. Mm-hmm. You're busy during those times. A lot of our employees and recruiters are more than willing to ask questions and answer questions via LinkedIn and the Handshake platform. Mm-hmm. I do stress, though, the best way to kind of move forward in the interview process is just going to our website and getting an application in. Mm-hmm. We do not have a generic application system that sorts through every single resume that come in. Mm-hmm. Our recruiters are all putting eyes on every single resume that gets submitted, which I think is very, very beneficial for everyone submitting an application, knowing that someone is going to be looking at it. And we try to look at all applications within 2 weeks of it being submitted.
Wow. Okay. That's great. Yeah. The individualized attention on each resume. That's very exciting to hear. And then what is, an important piece of advice that you would give to somebody that is looking at graduating at the end of the semester?
Yeah. I think the best advice that I could give to a student that's going to be graduating and getting into the interview process and starting the job search is to do as much research and preparation as possible. Mm-hmm. The job search and interview process can be very long and very tedious. So preparing for that interview to make sure that you're setting yourself up for success, as well as doing a ton of research on the company prior to the interview, making sure that they are a company that you do want to work for and you can see yourself working for, I think is very, very important, and not just rushing to a snap decision and not really knowing all of the facts about the company. I always highly, highly, highly encourage people just to prepare yourself and also do that research.
Yeah, it can be very fast paced, especially at the end of your, undergraduate career, to really, you feel like everything's happening at once, but it sounds like really taking the time to slow it down just a little bit and focusing on what's important and that research so that you can really get in and ace the interview.
Yeah, and I have heard right now, just with everything that's been going on, a lot of companies, and not just Fast, are looking for candidates that are excited to work for them and not necessarily just wanting to work. So really tailoring those resumes and cover letters to the specific company that you're applying to, just taking that extra 10 or 15 minutes that it may take to show that you're personalizing it to them and that you're invested and excited for them.
Great. Well, thank you, Taylor, for joining us today for another great episode. I appreciate all your insights, both into somebody's professional career as well as just from Fast Enterprises. So this episode will be put up onto the on-demand library for the YouTube Hire Lehigh channel. And I will include all Fast Enterprises links in the description along with the timestamps for each question. So feel free to jump around with with what interests you the most. But thank you, Taylor, for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
Great.